Hello everyone, I am Brown Exotical Glow, and in today's video I'll be talking about why beautiful women are targeted by misogynistic and narcissistic men. So, narcissistic men, they often crave admiration as well as external validation. So, to them, a woman who is very physically beautiful or very sexually magnetic, to him, she becomes like a trophy piece. She elevates his social status and also she reinforces his inflated self image. So basically, you become his beard and like a source of like supplies, something to feed his ego, or stroke his ego, as they would say. So after he has gotten used to you, he then starts to resent you at the same time. So because you represent something he can never fully control or he can never truly possess, because at the end of the day you are your own person, even though he kind of sees you as some sort of it, like I mentioned in previous videos. A lot of people see beautiful women, especially like exotic or ambiguous women, as some sort of it or like a fairy. So on the surface, these men, they present as like strong and very confident, but underneath it all, he's very insecure, and he often carries like a lot of wounds of abandonment, or he has experienced a lot of abuse. He's got to shove those feelings down. Also, being with a woman who draws a lot of attention or admiration, it can also draw out his insecurities. So he likes having you around because it strokes his ego, makes him feel like he's the man, but also because that attention is going to go to you instead of him, that can also make him feel triggered. Also, that'll eventually bring out his insecurities. So he usually respond by like controlling you, isolating you, or belittling you to regain psychological dominance, usually behind closed doors. So this dynamic can quickly become abusive. It alternates between idolization, you're perfect, you're exotic, you're beautiful, to devaluation, to you're worthless. They might start picking apart your look. You're not that pretty, or you're not that pretty compared to this girl, or your hair doesn't look like this girl. So I've heard some exoticals talking about how they might have been compared to like more white passing exoticals, or I heard a woman on TikTok saying how she was compared to maybe more white skinned Latina. She was more of a browner skinned Afro Latina. So a narcissistic man may also subconsciously view a beautiful woman as like a possession that proves his worth. This works because women are socialized to ignore our natural survival instincts. When we feel something wrong, we're just often gaslit, told you're overthinking it, you're being too sensitive, you're overdramatic. So we are taught to lean more into being empathetic, to be accommodating, or desirous of love. So oftentimes we may overlook red flags, like kind of rationalizing abuse, uh, labeling it as, he's just passionate, he's just very intense. He just wants everything to look perfect, even though his behavior is very childish. I mean, he can also appear like he's throwing a tantrum, but we as women, we're conditioned to just ignore that and just try to support our man, and you just have to make excuses for him. So many women, also many women with strong sexual or emotional magnetism, also tend to be intuitive, very warm, or deeply feeling women that usually work in industries where they provide service, whether it's a sex worker or some sort. They're taught to kind of, or they're expected to kind of accommodate men and their needs and their feelings. So that's why a lot of men target women that are sex workers. Also, the abuser thrives on our willingness to understand him, even when he's hurting her. A lot of times, women are taught to, you know, coddle men and be more understanding, try to, be there for him, stand by his side, be a good wife, be a good girlfriend, support him, even if he's hurting her emotionally, physically, financially. If he's abusing her, you're still taught to, stand by your man and be a good, supportive wife. Also, some narcissistic or misogynistic men, they tend to project their own shame and fear of vulnerability onto attractive women. So your sexuality is viewed as like dangerous. So they will attempt to punish you for the power you hold over them, emotionally and socially. Like I said, that's why a lot of times narcissistic men target women that are sex workers because they're an easy target. They Women who work in the sex industry are, kind of conditioned to be very catering towards men's needs and to sit and listen to men. Not only are they dancing, but a lot of times those women are in there listening to men and their problems. So that's why these men, narcissistic men, they thrive on women that are very women that are basically willing to listen and let you trauma dump all your problems on them. So early on narcissistic abusers, they often mirror and idealize their targets. So they study your desires, your tenderness, your validation, your connection, and they reflect it back on you perfectly. So at first they'll start off like singing your praises, making you feel like a queen or a princess in the beginning. They'll kind of shower you with gifts, grand gestures. That's all just, a form of love bombing. So first they love bomb you, they stonewall you, and then they love bomb you again. So this is how the trauma bond is created. And it turns you into like an addict for their affection. After you've gotten that high, that dopamine, now you want more. Now you're expecting of it, and he's going to withhold it on purpose and basically have you in a state where you feel like you have to beg for it. So early warning signs are like excessive compliments or you're different, you're not like other girls, trying to make you feel like you're trying to basically, I feel like it's a form of like trying to isolate you from other women so he can make you feel like, oh, you need to be next to him because you're not like other women. So it'll be very like surface level conversations that don't really discuss anything genuine. Like he's not trying to dig deeper into like your background. He doesn't want to know your family history or any of your boundaries. He's just focusing on surface level things, your looks and certain, qualities about you that are very surface level. And also, like I mentioned, he loves bombs you through gifts, grand gestures, long text, and constant attention. Also, there's subtle like pressure to label the relationship quickly, like talking about kids, talking about marriage, talking about moving in together. Things that you should be easing into those conversations. You shouldn't be talking about marriage and moving in together for someone you just met. You only been with them for a few weeks or a couple months. That's way too early to be talking about that. But that's all a ploy to like kind of loop you in and connect you with them. Also, they will use like subtle control like as a sign of like care. So making comments about your outfits, your makeup, or your social media. No, like, oh, I just prefer like you don't wear makeup. I think you look better natural. Oh, you don't need to post that. Even though like when they first met you, you had your own sort of social media persona. Maybe you took pictures of your in your bathing suit, or maybe you're a personal trainer and you like to take pictures of you in your gym outfits, maybe shorts and like showing off your stomach. But all of a sudden they want to tell you what you shouldn't wear. Oh, that's too much. I don't really like that. Maybe you should cover up more, even though this is how you were when they met you. So also guilt tripping you when you try to spend time with your friends or family, maybe trying to turn them against you, making up things about your family that maybe they don't like you or something like that to try to isolate you from your friends or your family. Or I don't like that girl for you. She's not a good friend. Also monitoring your online activity or location under the guise of like they're trying to protect you. Like I mentioned, criticizing people you're close to, trying to isolate you from other people, trying to turn you against people that you're friends with and your family, especially with other men. It's all a way to get you to be solely dependent on them or solely connected to them and separate you from everyone else. Also, there are they will use forms of emotional manipulation patterns. So being hot and cold with you. One day they're super affectionate. One day they're just complimenting you, singing your praises. You're a princess. You're the, they make you feel like you're the best person in the world. On the flip side, they are very distant or they become very hypercritical. All of a sudden, there's something wrong with the way you talk. There's something wrong with your hair. They don't like you have bad breath, or all of a sudden they find everything wrong with you, even though they were just singing your praises and making you feel like you were like Beyonce at first. Also, deflection. So turning every argument into onto like how you overreacted or how you made them angry. Also, triangulation. So mentioning their exes, oh, my ex was crazy and blah, blah, blah. Or female friends to try to make you feel insecure. Also, playing victim, like describing all their past partners are toxic or, talking about how, they were all out for my money, they didn't care about me, trying to make himself seem like a victim, trying to gain your empathy. So also it's a constant battle of you trying to earn your way into their good graces. And it's a form of conditioning, like that hot and cold behavior. All of a sudden they're very loving and affectionate and very generous to very cold and distant. It's all a form of, manipulating you and conditioning you. So also body language and also energetic cues. So very long, unbroken eye contact. Like there's something called a narcissistic stare, and I've witnessed this in real life. It's like a very deep, intense stare. Like their eyes are like if looks can kill. It's like almost like their eyes are like a dart. So it feels like a more like penetrating than like affectionate. It feels like they're trying to like stare into you, like drill a hole into your body with their eyes. Also, like standing or sitting too close too soon, like kind of invading your personal space, kind of like a more like they're studying you rather than like they're trying to connect with you. So, like, it's a subtle form of like physical dominance, such as like touching your back to steer you or like standing in front of the exit, blocking the exit. And especially if they're taller than you and they're kind of standing close and towering over you, it's a way to assert their dominance over you. Also, notice when you feel like tense or you feel small or hyper aware around them, they're doing that on purpose. They want you to feel that way around them. They want you to look at them as powerful and for you to feel powerless around them. Also, they will do like little tests early just to see how compliant you are. So, like making very offhand sexual jokes to just like gauge your reaction, seeing how you react to it. Are you going to react to it or are you just going to, just take it on the chin? Also, ignoring a boundary you clearly express and just laughing it off. Showing like small flashes of anger when told no. Usually, like you can see it on their face. It's like a snarl. Even if you said no to like something small, maybe you don't want to go somewhere, or you don't want to wear something that they bought you. Maybe they bought you a bracelet or a ring or a jacket or anything, and you say no, it's not really my style, and they'll have this like glare over their face. Also, disappearing for a bit after a conflict and then returning like nothing happened, like they don't even want to discuss it, they won't even acknowledge it. They just act like none of it ever happened, even though the last time you talked to them and you like set that boundary, they exploded, like they went off, they acted like it was the worst thing in the world, but then they'll disappear and come back and act like they didn't overreact the last time you talked. So how you ground yourself against um these type of moments is basically slow down on intimacy. So you have to observe their patterns because they all kind of read from the same playbook. So you have to realize intensity doesn't mean intimacy. So just because they're trying to take you on trips and they're showing you off to everybody and they're buying you expensive gifts and giving you all these compliments, oh my god, you're a princess, you're the most beautiful woman in the world, that doesn't mean anything. So stay anchored in your life. Don't stop doing what you're doing. If you're pursuing a career, if you're trying to start a business, if you're going back to school, don't stop doing that for them, or don't switch up your schedule for them. If you have a structure, you have a routine, keep doing it and don't let them throw you off. Also, keep your hobbies, your friends, and your routines active. So journal early impressions if you notice like weird facial expressions or body language. Write it down. Don't just ignore it. Don't just say, "Oh, it's probably no big deal. I'm probably just overthinking it." Write it down anyway. Think about it. Reflect on it, and keep that in your mind if you plan to see them next time. Um, if you start feeling confused or small, write that what changed and notice what's happened with your body. If you felt drained, if you felt anxious or pressured, usually something's off. Even if the words sound right, but your body doesn't feel right, take notice of that. Write it down in your journal or just make a mental note of it. And don't expect closure on an apology. So detach physically and emotionally. Prepare emotionally and practically. So keep documentation. Find a trusted friend. Talk to this about people with it. Talk about it with people you trust. Also, limit contact and have an escape plan. If you're living with this person, make a plan to escape, but don't tell them about it. They will sense your distance, but just, try to be discreet about it. Also, break the trauma bond. So, no contact or just like short, neutral responses because they're going to try to push their way back into your life. Also, block their social media and fill that void with like research videos on narcissism and journalism. I've watched a lot of videos of narcissism on YouTube. There are certain content creators that I watch that talk about narcissism. Also, rebuild your sense of self. So, do activities you enjoy, spend time in safe spaces, self-reflect, and also don't beat yourself up for not knowing. These people are evil. And for most of us that are not evil, we're not just sitting down thinking of these weird things, or we're not thinking about manipulating people or how we're going to lie and cheat and steal. We're not like these people. So it doesn't make you stupid, or it doesn't make you a bad person for not being aware of this, or for not automatically leaving at the first red flag, because a lot of us are not, unless you grew up in a very messed up environment, a lot of us are just not used to being around people like this, so we might not leave at the first red flag. Also, don't fall for the hovering. So they'll try to call you and cry to you and tell you about the problems in their life or something bad that happened. Or they might start admitting their feelings to you and being vulnerable or trying to meet up with you. Don't fall for it. It's all a trick. It's a plot to try to rope you back in, to put you right back in the cycle. So replace reality with fantasy. Write down all the situations that made you feel unsafe. Look at that old text where their mask slipped. Maybe they called you out of your name. They said something to you disrespectful. If you ever think about going back, look at it and think about it again. And also learn to detach from the illusion of them. In the beginning, all that they were doing to you, the whining and dining and the trips and the gifts, that was all a way to manipulate you. And none of it was real. It was all rehearsed. You have to think of it like it was a movie. It wasn't real. And create a new emotional anchor. So lean into your creativity, like making a YouTube channel or starting an online business or anything, going back to school, body movements, dancing, doing yoga, fitness, and also find some safe people, a group of girls that you can hang out with, or a social group, a running group, yoga group, dance group. And also therapy helps. So trauma therapy or any type of therapy that can help you, with the process of regulating your nervous system and getting back to who you were. So I hope you all enjoy this video. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.